right, this is your main man, joined today by AJ Pickett, entering the Barbarian Horde for the first time, baby. Woo, my God, with the Socrates, the RPGs, grueling indigents on your knees, and salute New Zealand's greatest national treasure, AJ Pickett, the master of monster ecology, the brain behind the Gather Tears of the Forgotten Realms, and Candlekeep's #1 sage. That's right, your main man is also a sorcerer and cast a 12th level spell, summon Candlekeep Sage, AJ Pickett, baby. Woo, my God! It's good to have you here with the Barbarian Horde.
Good to be here. Good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And hopefully, this is going to transit out well for you guys. Hopefully, everything on this recording isn't going to not. We shall see. Either way, baby, we're going to have a good time talking here tonight. And you're a big Forgotten Realms guy. Let's roll out with that right off the bat. If you guys, for the maybe 1% of you that watch the video that don't know who AJ Pickett is, go check his channel out. The guy has fantastic videos, not just for the Forgotten Realms, but also for pretty much 90% of the monsters ever made in all of D&D, and the couple he doesn't have, they'll be out next week, so just stay tuned for those. What is it, twice a week? Is that what it is, twice a week?
Twice a week, generally, yeah. At the moment, I'm having a bit of hiatus because I had some teeth ripped out of my skull. It comes with the territory of getting old, you know. But, yeah, my work output is usually a couple of videos every week, and I have a live stream every second weekend that people can come and ask me any sort of questions they want.
Fantastic, yeah. And this man has just had his teeth yanked out, but he's still here. We're going to miss the opportunity to come out here and talk to all you good people. And we do appreciate you coming out here, considering the agony of your mouth, and that is exactly what you're being made to use for the duration of the sensation, baby. So that's just the way it's got to go. So how long you been doing RPGs? What's your year
let's
count?
See. I started out back in the 80s. The red box D&D set was the first one that I ever got. It was $11, and I had to convince my grandmother to pick it up from a Woolworth supermarket store, kind of like our version of a Walmart.
Well, I know Woolworth. It's definitely not Walmart, but we used to have one.
That was a
down the
complete
street
rip-off, but I begged and I pleaded. It had that beautiful Parkinson art on the front of it. And it had everything you needed to play. I didn't know what I was looking at. I had no experience apart from Choose Your Own Adventure books. Steve, those the original ones, Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and then I found somebody at my school who'd just sort of arrived the year before, and he had some D&D basic books as well, and he was going to sell them.
We got a freeze.
Because he saw that I was interested, but the solo adventure, and I hated Bargle with a passion. Eventually, I ended up being a player of Dungeons and Dragons, but I didn't actually DM Dungeons and Dragons until 3.5 edition.
Wow.
Many years later. So I never was really that familiar with like the complexity of all of the rules. I was just one of those players that sits down and does the thing, and people tell me what dice to roll. Piece of shit, basically.
Anyway, that is a piece of shit move on your part, definitely. How did you go from being
as a young man? Campaigns were like 3 sessions long, if that.
Yeah, I understand.
And what we basically did was each of us, because RPGs were hard to come by in New Zealand back in the 80s.
Sure.
What we did was we each picked a particular branch of the hobby. So mine was Palladium books, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Heroes Unlimited, Beyond the Supernatural, eventually Rifts and all that.
Spy versus Spy.
Yep, that stuff.
I remember that.
And another friend did like Robotech, another friend did Traveller, and my friend Max was always the D&D guy, and his friend Ash. And but nowadays I'm pretty much solidly D&D. And I have an abiding love for Palladium. I actually did some writing for them for the Rifter. I did an article that got published in the Rifter 23, created a Blade Mage. But yeah.
No, that was the Savage Worlds. I know they did some Savage Worlds.
Yeah, they did it. The Palladium's getting a bit of a revamp now. Kevin's decided that he's staring down the barrel of retirement. He doesn't want his company to go down with him.
Yeah, sure.
So he's found a worthy replacement to basically steer the ship after he steps aside. We'll see how that pans out. This was the folks that brought us the Savage Rifts, which was successful. Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen
I
that
personally,
game
I'm of the school that there's nothing wrong with Palladium. It's perfectly fine. I played it to death and back. I know it better than the back of my hand. Yeah,
So is that one of the games you run, Palladium Fantasy and Palladium Risk?
yeah. That's one of the games that I can just, if you want to run a game now,
Right.
I can run a game right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's saying something. For those of you that don't understand, being able to put a game together like that isn't terrible is a real talent. Most people, if you put them, even if they've been doing this for a long time, if they're very good, they'd be like, I haven't have anything prepared or written or anything. So that's pretty awesome. You're able to do that, actually.
Yeah, any game that you can sit down with a total newbie and basically roll up a character with them real quick and get a game going in the same session is a game that you know very well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. So is it Forgotten Realms? I heard on one of your videos you're talking about some Ravenloft action, but is Forgotten Realms basically what you know, what you do, or do you go?
I started out when I started out making videos. It was 8 years ago. I started off as a craft channel because I used YouTube as a means of communicating with people on a message board, everybody at once, because we're running competitions, crafting competitions, making terrain and miniatures, and that was my passion. I still make minis. There's a roper.
Yeah, no, I see that. I mean, you made that from nothing, basically, just supply.
Yeah, tinfoil and Sculpey and stuff.
That's cool. Particularly as expensive that stuff is, if you use that.
Get it to hold it.
Oh wow, that's very good.
Yeah. And while I was making some of the stuff on camera, a friend of mine said, "Why don't you talk about the lore of the monster as you're making it?" And that's how it all started.
Yeah.
And one of the things with the Forgotten Realms is I'd always been very interested in the Forgotten Realms and wanted to learn about the Forgotten Realms. Like I looked at this map and thought, wouldn't it be nice to like look at it and go, I know everything about the Shah, you know. I know, like, without looking at the map, I can tell you where Thay is. I would love to be able to do that. And it's taken 8 years, but here I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're probably one of the most widely used resources in the world for that at this point, which is probably kind of mind-boggling to you, you know, thinking about where you started out to people like, oh, yeah, no, I use your shit to prep my videos, prep my games up or whatever.
Yeah.
So being basically a Forgotten Realms encyclopedia at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's good to be to build up that resource. It makes you quite unusual. Like you don't fit any mini boxes in YouTube's sort of, like they don't quite know what to make of you, and people who are looking for sponsorship and stuff is just like, no, you don't put ads in dictionaries and things like that. So I'm not going to take any sponsorship on these videos. So yeah, if people are looking for me to plug their stuff, it's not going to happen. It just doesn't happen. Go buy some ads on Google.
Yeah, you don't get the you don't get the big. What are the ones I'm always hearing about?
Shadow Legends or VPNs and
VPN. Everybody's. Seems to be
like you get enough ads on YouTube as it is. I'm not going to add more advertising in there for you that you can't avoid.
I've actually never monetized my channel or done the Patreon thing or any of that stuff. I just figure it's just so much of that going on. It was such a weird concept when that started because I started way before that. My channel's way before doing that stuff, and I was like,
you guys were the first wave. Back when I started out, I was watching you guys and picking up tips and tricks and thinking, that's great. You know, YouTube was a lot more interconnected. They had response videos and things like that back in the day. Great. Yeah, that was like the backbone of the RPG brigade.
It really was, because like someone could say something in a video, right? Like my man Sam Wise could talk about something. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me respond video to that, and then you could get his perspective, and then I could come in and just tell you what a piece of trash Sam Wise is, and you got to understand that. And he's one of your. Now you're a dire hobbit, but that man's just a normal hobbit with the hair on the feet and going to be complete. Yeah,
shout out to Sam Wise 7.
He is that's definitely my dude right there. I absolutely love that man. I don't know if you ever saw it. We did this video. It was like a ranking video, right? And he got me, man. Like, what the thing is like, so questions, yeah. So he's like, who taught you how to play role-playing games? And I start going through it, and he goes, your mama! And it's from Sam Wise. You're like, it actually like hit, because almost nothing in real life or anything, I can come back, but he floored me. I'm like, Yes, my mama.
Deer in the
Yeah,
headlights.
he's a low-key, very, very funny guy, very great guy. So yeah, if you watch this, my friend, yeah, just talked to him. I don't know, just a couple days ago up on Facebook. Yeah, he's a very good dude. Yeah, so you run a lot of games on online, right?
Not so much these days because I'm pumping out so much content. Like 2 videos a week is no joke when they're like half an hour long. There's 5 pages of solid text and research per video usually. So in a year I'm putting out about 450,000 words. No, yeah, something like that. Grammarly thinks I'm a machine.
That's a lot.
That's
a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. I could have written a couple of books, 4 books. Yeah, I got that coming up. Next year is my first book Kickstarter project.
What are you going to do in a book on?
So basically, lately in my videos, I've been adding more story elements to the videos where I lead in with like a bird's eye, like a street view of what it's like to actually be on the realms, this alter ego of everybody calls me the Sage of Candlekeep. So yeah, that's he's my Elminster character. Sure. And he's going to go on a journey across southern Faerun, a large tract of very interesting lands, which doesn't get a lot of coverage these days. And just basically, it's a story of his journal. Not a play-by-play, day-by-day sort of thing, but it's like a one day in the Shah, I'm investigating this, and this is the monster we come across, and then it leads into talking about the same sort of stuff I normally talk about. There's no rules or mechanics or anything in there. It's basically just what it's actually like to encounter these things, what the area is like, what the situation's like for actually being there face to face with a manticore or whatever. And in the process, he discovers something he forgets that he ever discovered, but he rediscovers it in his journals. They wiped his mind, but not his records. And yeah, so
let me ask you: this is not through wizards?
No. The way you get around this is so the open game license allows me on YouTube to make videos about any sort of IP or copyrighted content of Wizards of the Coast because it's free access to anybody. So anybody can watch my videos. It's not behind a paywall. You can watch them on YouTube for free. Same sort of thing with this book. The text of the PDF, like the PDF text, is going to be free for everybody to read. So what you're paying for on the Kickstarter is the maps and the artwork and things like that. People who want to send their likeness into me, and I'll commission artists who will put them as NPCs in the book. That sort of thing. So it'll be pretty. Hopefully I can get like Mike Schley and Devin Rue to do maps and things in there, some cartography. I do a bit of drawing and stuff myself, so we'll see what we can put together. But the actual text of the book is going to be a drawing on the resources of all these scripts that I write. Like I print them out just to keep a record of.
Yeah, let's see what that looks like. Now, how many videos is that?
That's this year.
That's this year. All the videos this year.
Yeah.
About how many pages? Say your average monster ecology video. Your 30-minute long.
About 5 pages.
5 pages. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
it's dense. It's thick.
No, it's definitely a lot of work. I mean, I hear you'll throw out your references of this Dragon magazine and this extremely. How do you do your research? Because I know you can't read every Dragon magazine ever. So.
Yeah, no, I can't possibly have, like, it would take me too long just to reference and go through all the physical books. So I have digital references for everything. I use Wikipedia's. I use Google like a surgical tool. My image searching abilities are just fairly advanced at this point. Google is well trained. It's my bitch, basically. I get it to do whatever I want it to do.
Bitch out.
Yeah. So I get a lot of like digital resources as legitimate as I can possibly do it. Some things you have to be a bit illegitimate, but that's the province of a sage, really. If I can buy a physical copy, I will, but if I can't, I'll find it by hook or by crook.
Well, I mean, there's a whole thing. I'm looking around like I got a book. Like I don't have an actual I have the Rick and Morty D&D box set behind me. And my man Woogaba. Shout out to Woogaba watching out there. My man Woogaba. I'm in the bedroom. I'm not in the in my equivalent. In fact, my equivalent looks fairly similar to yours. Honestly, if I'd set up out there, but I have a Gremlin familiar, and it will run havoc and make noise if I'm recording too close to it. They're very aggressive little creatures. So. what other realms do you really know well, or did you I know you talked about a Ravenloft, and I think that'd be a great idea because I've gone and looking for Ravenloft videos and they're all good. So you might find like where did this audience come from? You know?
It's like there's so much for me to cover just in the existing world settings. But I mean, monsters are kind of agnostic as well. Like I center them in the Forgotten Realms because it's what I'm familiar with, and it's like a canvas that people can wrap their head around. But in actual fact, there's manticores everywhere. So there's Eberron and there's Greyhawk and there's Mystara and all that sort of stuff. Some of them, like the Forgotten Realms, is what I'm most familiar with because that was where I gamed when we did actually do any sort of published settings. Most of the time it was all homebrew. I'm very much a homebrew guy. I'm very much a sandboxy guy. Give me your characters and I'll build a campaign around them, sort of thing. I don't come at you with the scripted campaign that's ready to go. So running a campaign out of a book is kind of like a foreign concept to me. That I've had to wrap my head around and doing the research and stuff on it, but I don't usually run like Out of the Abyss or anything like that. Just doesn't happen generally.
Yeah, is Out of the Abyss that a module? Is that right?
Yeah, that's one of the more recent ones. Yeah, or like Storm King's Thunder and things is like, unless you're very familiar with the Forgotten Realms and can sort of ad lib as you go, Storm King's Thunder is a very difficult campaign to run because you end up in the middle of boohick nowhere out in the far north of Faerun, and some very strange places. You go running around. It takes a lot of effort to get to places in that adventure, and I don't think the payoff is exactly you'll out level the adventure by the time you get there, sort of thing. Anyway, but I've also run a little bit of Eberron. I've also run some, like when we first started playing D&D, it was Greyhawk.
Yeah, sure.
But again, it was just like snippets of Greyhawk with a whole lot of homebrew in there, so I wasn't really paying much attention because the campaign was different every time, and so you're really much just focused on what's right in front of you and your character, sort of thing. But the Forgotten Realms, because it's worthy of study, because it's got 40 years of input from all these different writers, and such a rich, like, you throw a dart at the map and there's information on it that you can find. So it's just an endless source of material for me to make videos on. So I guess you could say I'm a little bit in a rut of like creative like happiness, because I really enjoy researching that and presenting it and bringing it to life and putting all of my passion for it to transfer that into the people who are watching the videos, so that even if they don't play D&D, they're getting that experience of what it's like to be in a role-playing game and have a setting come to life off the pages. So that's the real fun for me, and it's a privilege when I get feedback from people that say that they've started playing D&D because they listened to me and wanted to do it.
Yeah, I've had that line quite a few times, and that's wow, hey, I watch your channel just for entertainment. Fuck this game. This is just pure entertainment. And then sometimes a year later, that person's like, all right, so fuck it, I tried to play, and I kind of like this, and slowly, they start building up. I do have some friends that don't really game that have actually, when I did a video for you, they wouldn't watch. They're like, oh yeah, wow, this guy's channel's really, really good. So from people that aren't gamers, they could definitely still get something entertainment out of the channel for sure. Yeah, so
I feel more freedom that way because I'm not bogged down with like. There's a lot of people who run really rules heavy or how to play D&D heavy channels. That's fine. Oh, yeah. That's their forte. But I can just sit back and just talk about it, like just imagine it. Just describe it, and that's all it really needs. And sometimes that's all a DM is really looking for, is like, okay, I've got these, I know how the mechanics and stuff of these goblins work, but what's it actually like in a goblin village? What does it smell like? What do they sound like? What are they doing in their day-to-day lives? So that's my job, to step in there and say, okay, here's the full picture. Here's the minute details. Here's what's actually in that stew bowl. Do they actually drink rat piss? Yes, they do. Yeah. So...
No, you definitely do a great job in your videos, and trust me, man, I'm a shoot, and I wouldn't tell you that if it wasn't the case.
That's why I appreciate it so much.
It really illuminates a lot when I'm sitting there, because I'll walk around at work and I'll have my headset in, and I can get a lot of game prep done right like that. I know my buddy here, Langer, the Tree Folk. He said he looked at your Genasi video beforehand, and anyone in my group, just a large gaming group in general, not just the people who are just playing in this game I'm running. There are approved and unapproved channels. Like, don't. That's not. Watch him. Watch a few other people, and of course, watch my content, and it'll kind of give you a kind of idea towards what we're trying to shoot for. And you're getting that deep immersive style, and really trying to get that imagination going. And that's really what it all is for me. Like I who cares about trying to build a character optimally or whatever? You want to have that. You want to have that hook. What's your character's hook? What's your hook as a game master? That's just so such a really quintessential thing to have. Yeah,
I fully agree. Like my pillars of good gaming would be, if your friendship's good, the rules don't matter, because you're going to be homebrewing stuff and just like trying out new rules and stuff. If you've got a good relationship with who you're gaming with, you trust each other, then you're willing to bend and break any rule. And introduce new stuff or drop it as you see fit. It's very fluid. The other would be, if as a dungeon master, really your job is to input the scene, the feeling of it to your players. So part of the reason why I put my passion into the videos is to inspire, and that's, I guess, why people like listening to it before they go to sleep at night or while they're at work and stuff, because they're really designed to transport you and take you there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So that's really the whole point of sitting around a table with your friends, is to be transported and to go to a place of shared imagination. So yeah, that's what I'm really passionate about. And also, like, just the community of it. In these days of electronic devices that separate us, Dungeons and Dragons or any role-playing game is a medium where you can sit down face to face and actually have fellowship with people, and have shared dinners and things like that. So that's a thing to be cherished and fostered and built. Like, so many people I've heard have met their partners and have children and stuff like that thanks to role-playing games. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that happen myself. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so many times it's like, the problem with this person at the table is, it's like, it's not a rules problem, it's a relationship problem, and I'm not a relationship counselor, so I can't fix it with the rules. You basically just need to sit down and talk to them.
I definitely think that you have to have compatibility, because either one of us, I'm quite quick to kind of explain my issues, but I do try to be patient at the same time. But you could definitely find lots of gamers that just they're not trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And if you're not trying to do the same thing, you may have an issue there. Maybe you won't. Sometimes people can be very differently, trying to come in and explore differently, and it can be fine, but sometimes it doesn't, and the antithesis of creativity is aggravation. You don't want to have aggravation. You want to have the players getting you up and up, and the game master getting it up, and not have anything that's problematic. Because I've played in games where you're like, I'm not going to get out of this, or other games where you just love the people, like you're saying. We're talking about relationships, so I could definitely co-sign on that.
Yeah, you can definitely feel the vibe when it clicks and everybody's after the same thing at the table, like everybody's laughing at the same time, sort of thing. And I don't think I've ever been in a game which has been very serious or like very heavy. Some Call of Cthulhu games which have been pretty tense, but that was the point, Dungeons and Dragons I've never felt as a very serious game. Some people argue against that. They say that they can have a very serious game. It's like, well, maybe, but I wouldn't be there. You don't
like this. Can you kind of explain what you mean by serious? I mean, do you mean like, okay, let me
no opportunities for slapstick. Like if something humorous is, you're never going to ride the humor train or like have puns inserted in the game or anything like that. It's like nothing silly. But I mean, Gary Gygax and Dave and Ed Greenwood have always injected silliness into the game, a bit of sci-punk fantasy and stuff like that. So it's always been a part of it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, for me, silliness is always bringing some the roles in the game, if you will, baby. I don't know if you know the old school wrestling, but there is in the Forgotten Realms, and this is courtesy of the Forgotten Realms Atlas, which was an item which you probably well know. There is the Dusty Roads spelled Roads instead of RHODES, the Dusty Rove Inn, baby. So I love to have that in games. The characters go in there and you know who's going to be behind the bar, if you will. 3 times.
There's definitely going to be some form of corn grits and biscuits and gravy on that menu. I can tell you.
Yeah, I mean that's generally where the silliness of my game kind of comes in. I can do a lot of impersonations of a lot of different wrestlers because they're so wrestlers have such incredible knack for idiosyncratic speaking that it's so easy to take that role over. I'm gonna say the same thing, like 3 times in a row, and just gravel the voice, the voice, And you take a character like that, right? You can, all right, so I have a character that's based off, we use pictures in the game, everyone. Like I might have a fantasy picture, I might have a sketch, I might have a picture of an actor, We could have anybody in there. And I have a character based off Macho Man. And Macho Man is I would like to have seemings as opposed to polymorphs. I like to have dragons just be able to move around and work and interact with people. And the character was a blue dragon. And the character would kind of meander and talk to the players, and he's like, you can just call me Blue for short. My name is Sam Simeon. Oh yeah, and I want to tell you, I want to tell you just right now, yeah. And he just keep going, and he would periodically, I would just insert like things that the characters, or like, well, he did say that, but he said, so it was kind of a fun deal, and then. I kept out, the biggest catchphrase of the character, the ooh yeah, that kind of kept it away, and they were all like, "God, you're not even going to that. That's crazy. You're not using his main deal." And then at the end of our last game, not to sidebar too much, but I am the living stream of consciousness. So the characters come upon a Dracolich with the wearers of purple, the cult of Samaster. I'm sorry, and they're there with the cult of the dragon, and there's a bunch of wizards. There's another one that they don't know. Something's going to happen with that. I can't tell them because they're all going to watch this video. And they're seeing this horrible skeletal thing shambling. And then the Macho Man character, I do this thing where I'm describing how the skin is slowly peeling back, and you can see this draconic image, and the eyes are wild and full of the madness, and just rips apart and pulls them, and you can see like the eyes, and it's up there, and the players are like, oh yeah, we got something on our side, because it's slowly painting the thing, painting the Godzilla-esque breath. Right. Of course, a very chaotic neutral, not a very lawful evil blue dragon, but we do have exceptions to the rules sometimes. So it was a real, and that was the very end of the game. So they're like, how to be all week? They're caballing with each other to try to figure out how they're going to get it past this. So it was a pretty good session cliffhanger.
Yeah, I'm fully on board with like any dragon being any alignment, because any sapient being has the capacity for good or evil. As far as I'm concerned, that's perfectly fine with me. And I'm never going to tell people how to play the game. I'm not interested in how they're running their games. It's however suits them. I run my game my way. You run your game your way. That's fine. I'll give them advice. I'll give them inspiration, but I won't give them directions.
I was thinking of dragons as what I like to call like super sapient, like something between a god and a man. Like they're more real, they're more vivid, they're more important than an elf or a dwarf or a human. They're this incredible bridge to the past that just knows more than you and is so far ahead of you. And I really try to bring all that kind of stuff in, when you're battling a monster, where it's just
when you think about dragons and like. Say you got Yoda. He's sitting there. He's in tune with the planet of Dagobah. He can feel the X-wing coming through the sky before it even gets there. You can feel the vibration, the disturbance of the monsters. The reptiles and croaking beasts and things. And as it lands, he's seen the future, and he's divined the way forward, and he's playing out this thing as it goes. It could go one way, it could go the other. He knows that it's pivotal that Luke pays attention to the here and now, and not get wrapped up in the divinations that Dagobah is going to give him. So dragons, in my way, the super intelligence of a dragon is that awareness. It's that super sensory step ahead of you that they have, so they know what you've got in your backpack. They've seen it 1,000 times before. They know adventurers. What sort of adventurer are you, though? Are you manipulatable, or are you controllable, or do you need to be taken out of the picture? That sort of thing.
Absolutely. I've always been real big on trying to find to me, just running through, as a player, running through a stat block even an interesting encounter can be. I've always, as a player, loved the idea of I've taken like 9 languages. I speak all these languages, can interact, and as soon as I find out that I actually can't talk to that goblin because it's just a stat block running at me, like just my interest just dies in the game. So I try to make monsters that can be interacted with. There's a group of gorgons, and they haven't fought the players at all. They're talking with them. They're engaging, and the players are scared shitless of them. They're engaging with them. But of course, other things, you're going to fight. There's going to be violence, and my players they're very. Maybe I'm a little, but they get real scared of the monsters. They're like, hey, stay in the village, and because they got all the politics stuff working there, so it works fine. But I try to make things that should be scary, and if you're out there, imagine how post-traumatic stress any character you see in D&D would be. You'd be unfunctional.
Oh yeah. That healing magic will stitch you up like baby skin perfect, but the mental scars are going to remain for sure. Having your guts ripped out and seeing your intestines in front of you because you faced off with some big nasty beastie, that'll put the wind up you. You don't want that happening again.
Well, think about the Manicore you described, and like I said, I like to get into that headspace and think like a Manicore, and I'll have it talk. I love to have that because if you think about comic books, right, while you're fighting, the bad guys are talking shit to the good guys, and guys are talking shit back, and I love to have that, and they know you got 6 seconds, in combat. 6 seconds. Don't try to belabor this long soliloquy. We have soliloquies. We come back to that at a point, but not in the middle of combat. You got 6 seconds, so they're like, "Well, you fuck," and then they're like. And they'll say a point at them, and they know they got to wait and truncate it, bring it back. Next round, you keep talking to shit, the monster's talking shit to them. As we're kind of showing that it's more than just a stat block. It's a real thing.
The Manicore wants to eat people. It wants to eat humans specifically because humans and dwarves dig themselves up in this nice ferrous iron, and they're hungry for it because they're shooting iron out of their body.
Yeah.
So they're targeting adventurers because they have equipment that their Manicore wants to eat. So it's not going to have a suit of armor sitting in its treasure hoard somewhere. It's going to eat all that stuff, and it's going to, if you're a party of rogues and rangers who are wearing leather and stuff, it's going to eat your arrowheads and they're throwing daggers, snatch them out of the sky, and eat that dagger in front of you.
Yeah,
it's gone.
That's a great scene right there where it just eats it.
Yeah.
Like, what do your ranger do? When you really put that, I love that. Yeah, that gave me a great visual of actually seeing it and you're just looking at him like, and I want more. And you're like, I don't want to fire my arrows at him anymore. I want to run. So yeah, when you have the players, I like to have players in a combat situation generally fearing I might lose my character. But not in that Gygaxian kind of way where, oh yeah, we're going to kill 3 of you tonight. Not that kind of, because meat grinders are horrible. But when you have them right there, and in the game I've run right now, they've gone wire to wire, and we're close to a year in, and we were on really big sessions. We go 8, 9 hours, 10 hours, sometimes more than that. Which is honestly slightly on the low side for me. But when you have players in a situation like that, and you can keep them without having killed any of them. You can keep them there. It's good. I also I wonder if you have any of these little pet peeves that drive you nuts. People trying to swim across, a river or anything like that, and they're wearing armor. They're wearing 30 pounds of gear. I mean, imagine getting in a pool head to toe, in this sort of armor. It drives me nuts. Like I can't tolerate that. And all my players know how to character because I tell them all the time. I'm going to drown you. I'm going to drown the fuck. God, I can't wait to drown someone. Please, I swear to God, get in there. You're getting in. And then the player, I didn't get it. I told you we have a fire and an Urchinasi, and they had to get across a raft, which was human made, and the raft came apart in the middle of the river because he rolled rather low on his boat building, and he had some boat building skill, and they fell. Fortunately, my little gremlin son, playing a hobbit, and his hobbit's a wizard, and he had cast water breathing on both of them before they went in there. Now, the not fire Nazi almost died in the water before they got him out. And the Urchinasi, who wants to weigh 1 billion pounds, right to the bottom, But they were, and I described the muck getting on them, and I described the strange, horrible looking fish. This is near the Serpent Mound, you understand? This is right out of the forest of worms, if you will, baby. And they've just come and they've dealt with a green dragon. The green dragon I had as a Tom Cruise. So imagine Tom Cruise. And I described it like he's like 5'3" in his seeming, right? And he's like,
Yep.
and he's acting like he's the biggest motherfucker around. And they're slowly starting to figure out what it is. Like, oh god, that's a dragon. And he's also a druid, right? Because I like to class up my dragons because I don't know why they can't learn classes. So he's a druid. He's neutral evil. He's a druid. There's a druid in the party. I do not use you just get spells. You have to learn. Every class has to learn. Clerics don't just get all their spells. You get to learn.
That would be my pet peeve right there. Yeah.
You just get everything.
Is the characters who just get stuff like they haven't returned, like it's the Wizard Academy happened to them before their character was made and then never seen again. It's like bullshit. You're deeply involved in that academy. It's been your life for the last 16 years. You know, you're going back there every single chance you can get.
For sure. I think that's a great lesson. I mean, kind of listen to both of us and the new players out there, old players out there who've been playing 1,000 years. If spells are treasure, okay, spells are treasure. If your player just gets everything, particularly if they're a new player, you cannot hand a new player 20 more spells. They're like, oh, this is way too much. And if you slowly start doling them out, now they have to interact with things. Oh, there's an alchemist in town. He keeps talking about science, but I just found out what the fuck casts a magic spell, even though he says he doesn't. Let's try to figure that mystery out. Let's try to get with... and I have this like 400-pound, 460-pound alchemist. He's got like a cane. He's like... and he's got a homunculus. The homunculus gets involved in the mischief going and banging on the druids. Because I made something that's kind of cutesy, but he's kind of crazy too. For our female druid, she really fucking loves this little thing. And the... character like that, then you have something like a dragon, right? Well, dragons have spells. So did you do something a dragon liked? Well, the dragon doesn't want to give you any of its treasure. I learned that in your videos. I already knew that, but I learned that in your videos too. Your dragon horde video is my favorite. That's my favorite of his videos. If you don't watch any of them else, watch that one. Then you're gonna fucking watch all of them because that was like beyond anything.
Stealing food from its plate. That's what it's thinking.
Hold on, let me see if I can quote you. I don't have to sit there and work and try to figure out how to do your voice, but let me see. What exactly did you say? A dragon may owe you his life, but he does not owe you his horde. And I'm like, that is fantastic. The dragon can love you, can think you're amazing, but doesn't want to give you his horde. And the players were in a situation with the female dragon, this huge, important character to the story, who could function in sort of a quasi, I don't like to any way hard quest give, just sort of very casually dress it up like, hey, I'm very powerful and I kind of want you to do some stuff here. You want to do it? Well, that's a way to get you out of town and get you to go do something. And now, you're bringing back, these things. They had to interact with another dragon who was scared fucking shitless of her, so it had to kind of bitch to them, but in a dragon way. I'm not going to spoil what it is because all my players are going to watch this video. But one of the players became very insistent, like, you have to give me this and that, and the dragon's like, I don't want to give you anything to my horde, and I'm showing it, particularly when Langer picks up, I'm like, oh god, we're all gonna get killed here because they're fucking around. But eventually, it produced a good game, but listen to this, players out there. Don't ever just give your character spells. Work them into the game. Have them go into the crumbling temple and read the ancient runes. Like, oh shit, this is some ancient spell here. Or it's fucking sleep. Whatever it is, learn it. And you add to the game. You add to the mystery. Have them defeat. This is a wonderful moral quandary. My character, he plays a follower of Merkel, and in my game, followers of Merkel fucking hate followers of Cyric because he destroyed their faith, stole their people, crushed their temples, had their people backstabbing each other and slipping from being people. So what you wonder about a follower of Merkel, they're not people of lies. They're people of honesty. They're people of death. The fuck do you need to lie for? Into this lying cult of savage murderers that are the worst brain broke kind of people out there. Cyric makes great villains. It's
a mind-blowing concept that two gods of evil can be diametrically opposed because they're evil in different ways.
Yeah. I always that never made any sense to me. Why? And I have a video about that. Why your evil doesn't line up? The dragon doesn't like the beholder. They don't like each other. They're not friends. They will be happy to help you. And just because someone's evil doesn't mean they're looking to fuck you. They might be real happy, like, God damn, that's great. Evil people have friends. They're like, yeah, this guy's awesome. I'm not going to fuck my friend over. In fact, an evil person may be more likely to have a friend than someone that's good, because a good person, I got to worry about everybody's intentions. Evil's like, no, that's my son. I love him. That's my wife. I love her. fuck you. I'm going to do whatever I need to get this across. Sorry. Oh yeah, I am evil, but yeah, I care about things. Well, you care about things. What? You know. But anyway, I get so diverged. I'm gonna push back to you. But when you put that in there, when you have them learning that spell, each one of them now is like gaining a magic item. So you've learned that spell. You have a story for it. Now you actually researched it. You understand to use your spell components, how to cast it. And I let people say, okay, well, I'm going to come in and do my spell. And then I'll write it down. I'm going to do my spell like this. I'm going to say this. This is how I'm going to do my somatic components. This is, and now you have to be looking like, hey, we're going by pasture. Okay, is there any cows out there? I'm jumping over the fence. I'm going to go get some bullshit. You know, so that kind of, it just adds so much nuance.
Yeah, it makes so much sense to have a mage with an NPC like apprentice who is out there getting the batshit and little bits of broken glass and making little effigies of, like, you know, pots and pans and things like that for your mending spells and stuff. You know, they're learning the trade as they learn from the master, who is now out in the field. And the master is out in the field because they're looking for more spell knowledge that they can take back and get prestige in their academy, because they're looking at their retirement. You know, they're getting on in years compared to some of these fit and healthy adventurers, but they're going to go out to pasture soon because you don't last forever. You know, and it's an ecology of academia and adventure, and an adventuring world that's full of all these secrets, and the reason why they call it the Forgotten Realms is because you scratch and you find lost empires that fell because of what, you know, you don't know. The adventurers don't know. So yeah, that's the other pet peeve that I have is in character knowledge. You know, they know all about the Forgotten Realms. They know all about Netheril and all that sort of stuff. It's like, oh, really? How exactly does your character know that? Yeah. Well, you watch a few of my videos, great, but your character doesn't know shit.
Yeah.
They're an onion farmer from outside of Luskin, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's horrible. I love to do this, because I've been in plenty of games where you have sort of a mixed group and you don't really know the people. I go, okay. And I see the person in any kind of scenario, they're starting to use that player knowledge, right? And you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna do the opposite of this. So I'll give you a quick story. There was this guy. He was horrible. He was playing this game, and my friend Blair, she's running this. I think it was like a World of Darkness game. I don't think it was Vampire. It was a new World of Darkness. And then we had another player there. And the one player is basically just metagame knowledge and teaching his character with meta knowledge. And I went, oh, no, you're not. So I grabbed him like this. And my character was, you know, I talk like this. My name's Matthias Sayer Kyler. And I have an old truck that I just have parked out down there by the lake. And I got me a dog named Rusty. Now, what I know about is demons. And boy, you gonna tell about what nonsense. There ain't no damn such thing as a vampire. There's a demons, boy, and what you need to do is gonna get you one of these bats like I got an old iron. That's coal iron. That's gonna get rid of them fey folk, and you know that ain't nothing but a demon. And they're like, well, no, but you need to. And I'm grabbing the other character, just yanking him even harder in this direction, where the other guy's like, all he could do is start screaming, I'm using player knowledge to substantiate, because I'm giving him so much to start painting, you know, because I can't stand them. Yeah, you are not your character.
Yeah, and there's for every legitimate wizard out there, there's a ton of hedge wizards who just know like one spell. They know a couple of cantrips and they play it up to be their entire profession. I mean, you can get by with the mending spell quite well.
It is amazing. What do you mean get by? It's amazing. Have you read Prestidigitation? The spell is insane. The spell is insane.
Yeah, that's what
I think in my game, Prestidigitation may literally be regarded by the players as the best spell. You could put that at 9th level. Prestidigitation, that's the one we want. God, they're stop time or wish. Prestidigitation. That's what I'm wishing to get. Because I describe how disgusting the players are, how filthy they are. I describe the bed bugs. I describe the fleas. I describe the sweat. I describe the goblin, literal shit and piss and blood that is all over you that you have bathed in by hacking 20 of them apart. And you're like, I can't clean this off. There's no river. There's not a shower here. There's no showers anywhere. So you're filthy. And then when the wizard can just start cleaning you with prestidigitation, can start flavoring your food, can go over and make, the tail of your horse fucking saffron color. When you start really getting it, when the players, when they get here, they get up here, that starts blowing their mind. Like, and just that little hedge you're talking about. Prestidigitation, though. You know what I'm saying?
They ride back into town and the cape is billowing in a non-existent breeze. They're looking perfect.
And you can look like that. But you look horrible if you just crawl out of a dungeon. You look like if you and I just jumped in the sewer head first and came back 30 minutes later. You know, that's how your adventure parties really look. And they smell even worse.
It's the bit that the bard doesn't sing about.
Yeah. So that's something I just love, prestidigitation. And those classes, the thing we'll finally start introducing, you just automatically got like spells and shit like Beguiler. And the guy was playing a Beguiler, and that's he got like a free spell slot. He's like, I can take prestidigitation. Please, can I please? I'm like, all right then. You can have instead of a first level spell, no prestidigitation. That's old Frodo Lizard. Yeah, it's such a dynamic and powerful spell. If you put yourself in the game, not sitting there playing the game. If you're in the game, what do you want? You know, and that spell does so much.
I'd go so far as to say that prestidigitation shouldn't even be a spell. It should be an aspect of a wizard character that represents all of their arcane training and the lifestyle that they come from. Particularly if you're an average person from Hallarua, for instance, you're going to have little cantrips and stuff that you pick up because you got two classes of society there: people who have magical ability and people who don't.
Yeah.
It's a big difference. Even in Waterdeep, you know, people who have spell ability versus people who don't is a strata of society. Netheril took that to the extreme, where the people who have were literally floating above everyone else. Yeah. So it makes a big difference.
But I mean, imagine
I'd be okay with you know, at first level, your wizard can do prestidigitation and free up a spell slot for something else, but give them that ability to do those things.
Well, the way I've always done, basically the equivalent of like cantrips, all the way back to AD&D, is I push them to one column, right? And okay, so I back up like this. This might be kind of, I had to talk with a player the other day. They really like this. This might be interesting for the viewers. You're like Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter can't cast spells. He's a 0th level wizard. He's got nothing. He's maybe he can cast one 0th level spell once a day, and he's done. And he's done. He can't practice. He can't practice his magic by the AD&D rules, by the D&D rules. He can't. So I always thought that if you had any magic energy is I'm going to keep it clean here. It's this essence in you that you can expend, and as you expend, I always look at that as you start getting exhausted. A wizard, say you had 30 spell points worth of spells, right? And it's broken down by level or whatever, and you got 30, I feel wonderful. 20, 10, 1, you know, you're exhausted, and I like to have my players put it out. 0 is a different thing, though. So, for me, as long as you have basically the equivalent of 1 spell point, all your 0th level spells, cast, whatever you want to do, you can do that. However, with some small limitations to that, but however, at the time you've expended everything, you're done. I mean, you are done. Like, you got penalties. You want to go to sleep. Like, you are more exhausted than you can ever imagine because your mind is just completely whipped. You know, that's really the kind of way. Because I like to dig into it and get it and think about, like, if I am there, what are we seeing? How do I feel?
Yeah.
You know,
with wizards, it's it's tuned into their intelligence, so it's their ability to hold information in their mind. And one of the things I think about with spell levels and spell slots is you've got a slot. You've got 5 spell slots, and you can fit these levels of spell. Those levels of spells are huge, big tracts of information and books and things. So you have to read through 16 pages, and you're loading that into your mind, just like you're listening to the radio and you get a song stuck in your head. So at the start of the day, the wizard's got 6 spells stuck in his head, and he's like, somebody's talking to him, he's like, So he's multitasking all the time. So he's not really paying much attention to his environment. He's dealing with things as they come at him. He's kind of annoyed and aggravated about any distractions because he's holding these spells in his head. Once he actually casts the thing, concentrates it, burns up the spell component, it's out of his head. He can then he's got 4 more slots to keep going over in his head, like he's rickrolling himself all day. And at the end of the day, they're all out of his head, and he's like, it's just this big blank mental space, and he starts to pay attention and stuff, but he's wiped out. It's like the mental effort of doing that. I know what mental effort goes into writing 5 pages of video stuff. I quite often feel like I've just expended a spell slot,
Sure.
you know, and I'll take a break and just recharge my brain, go for a walk outside or whatever, and get the batteries going. But like I often refer to Mordenkainen, like when the wizards are talking to each other, NPC wizards are talking to each other. They're bragging about Mordenkainen's inversions, or these things that wizards do to like memory master or the recall abilities. Like they had those fads of unlocking the power of your mind to remember stuff with perfect clarity and stuff. And you make these mental boxes. And
stuff like Scientology.
Yeah, that sort of stuff. And so these wizards are bragging about their ability to recall information in pages. So they have memory competitions, quizzes, and stuff like that, where they're just basically shooting verbal spells at each other, but not actually summoning the magical energy and stuff, because that shit is dangerous. You know, one misstep and your brain transports itself 4 feet to the side. You know, like when spells go wrong, you could end up, you know, mutated on the spot or something like that. You know. So NPC wizards don't have a very fun time in my adventures. Quite often I represent how dangerous a monster is just by how fast it takes out and how horribly it takes out an NPC. So there's a pretty common thread in my players that the NPC is only going to last, you know, 6 or 7 sessions before that's it. Something's going to take him out, just to prove my point that it's dangerous.
Sure, you know, that can definitely happen with really, it's always such an important thing to have. You got to have the players where they got skin in the game and they feel like, you know, they're like this, like when they're like, "You're gonna kill me, motherfucker." You got the ball.
yeah. Try and take me out. I've got.
I rolled 5 ones in a row. I'm still fine. What's it? Whatever. You know, but when they're like, and they're all texting each other, like, "Oh God, we're gonna die here. We're you know, no, he's gonna whoop all our asses. Oh God, no. Oh God, the guy worships Talos over there. That's not gonna be good for us. No, this is just gonna be bad. The game master really likes Talos, so it's gonna be scary."
You can imagine a player who comes across a spell book and it's like, "Oh, what spells has it got in it? It's got nothing." But reading that will give you an extra spell slot. It's like, what?
Oh, that's not in the rules. Got him right there.
Yeah, it's like, that's not in the rules. Yeah, but think how many wizards are going to kill you for that.
I think any wizard is going to try to. I think if it's of any level, you know, that's like what would it be? Pearls of Power, I think, or something like that.
That's tomes of exercise and stuff like that. Yeah, well, or like if it's not just humans who are casting spells, dragons are going to want that book. And then they're not going to want any of their prey species around them getting that sort of power. So they're going to take it out and put it in their hoard and not give it to anybody.
Well, for sure, you need to have that. It's just your right to have that as a dragon. And that can be very interesting because player characters love to just flaunt what they have, and particularly when you got real power. Because I like to run a lot of tough kind of NPCs. They're like, so that impresses them, but also that's the kind of thing that gets a knife put in you, or a breath weapon used on you, or whatever. So it can be. It can definitely be a juggling act, and I try to get that across to them. Oh, what I was saying earlier, I got off topic with this for you guys. A follower of Cyric, spellbook, right, is his Bible. We call them Bibles. Cleric, I do Cleric spellbooks the same way. I use old AD&D 2nd edition. You have to roll to learn them. I've always driven me nuts that priests, for some reason, are halfway, like, simple in most games. Like, I'm a priest, I'm intelligent, I don't know how to read, but I'm still a priest. If you actually go and speak to most priests, I'm an atheist, but I will tell you this, as someone with a degree in religious studies, most priests and most religions are very, very sharp, very mentally capable individuals.
A lot of our modern science has come from the fact that, like botany, for instance, in England, they used to send the noble sons, off to parishes and stuff to look after the peasants and things, and they were the most educated people there. They were bored shitless. And they said, well, what can we study? And they said, well, you can study God's work. So they became botanists, and there we have genetics and hereditary studies and all that sort of stuff. Priests. Who came up with gunpowder? Priests.
And kind of taking what you're saying there, I like to see that intelligence. So they got to roll that intelligence, old AD&D chart to learn spells. Because you botch. If you roll a double optional spell, it goes on another list. Your character can never learn that spell. It just... Your mind, you just can't process it, so it's a little tweak. Your character has, oh God, I can't ever learn Fireball. That's happened in a game I ran before.
Ooh, yeah.
The player's like, they like Fireball, but oh well. And when
like, that was my whole character concept.
No one in my game is gonna would ever get greenlit with with something that flimsy. So here's a moral quandary, right? You're playing a priest of, like my son. She's playing a priest of Merkel. He's like a true necromancer class wizard, like a rustic wizard. We use theme music for characters. And they let them pick. He picked the Wizard by Black Sabbath, which is so amazing first because it's so rustic. Yeah, it's so fucking a perfect first character. He picked that song, and my son is 14, so the fact that he picked a Black Sabbath, and he knows all this music because he grew up with it. He got experience points for that. So you're a priest of Merkel. Your religion tells you we do not tolerate Cyric. We are not, because I try to get into the ethos of religion, the morals of a religion. What is the actual morals? And a character like that is like, oh, well, okay, we see what Cyric does. So every time you lie, you're doing what? You're praying to Cyric. And you do what? You give Cyric power by every lie because he's the god of lies. So we never lie. Doesn't mean we have to tell you anything. We'll say that's not your business. That will drive a PC fucking insane for a character not to lie to them and not tell them the truth. Go, well, that's not your business. I'm not going to discuss that with you. Like, what? And that's it. Because what are you going to do? Split someone's skull for trying to tell you that I'm not going to discuss my business with you? But the character, you defeat a follower of Cyric. You have a spell book of a follower of Cyric. You have his Bible. So all of his spells, all the spells he's learned. And again, I don't give them every spell, but I whatever they've learned. So, and he has this number of spells, and you're looking, like, oh God, I really want to learn that spell. And you're seeing, but that's the doctrine of Cyric. So, like, my son is like, they must go in the fire, and these are great spells for him. Great spells for him. And he's like, into the fire, and the other characters, and he's a hobbit, so they're like restraining him from burning. He burns one of the books, and it's magical, so it's like exploding and shit in the fire, and because you can give them those moral dilemmas, and you can give them an insight, like the dwarven priest of Morden in the group is learning books. He's learning spells from these old crumbling tomes that are only around because they're so magical of Lathander, and he's like, oh, I kind of understand Lathander. I kind of like Lathander now because I've read, I've understand their faith, and I had to take the spell and kind of almost reverse engineer it back into my religion, but there's still left a little bit of Lathander DNA on there, so it builds. So like my man AJ was saying, use stuff like that. Don't just hand them. Players don't care about anything you hand them. Make them earn it, and then they're like, I have Fireball. I have.
Just picture that dwarf coming out. He's like, I got this idea for this business venture. It's like, you've been reading too many books of Lathander, man. It's starting to rub off on you. It's like, what?
Yeah. Lathander is a great god in the game because we got a priest of Merkel. And the priest of Merkel is like, hey, listen, we're like the flip side of coins. They're like, you have a zombie ghoul monster.
Is also Bane, right? So Merkel is also Bane. Didn't Merkel became Bane?
Merkel becomes Bane in 5th edition?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't...
There's some relationship between the two.
Well, all three of them started off together, Merkel, Bane, and Ball. I'm not sure where they go there, but they had some weird contest involving bowling.
Or maybe he just picked up the portfolio, I'm not sure.
It could be, but they were all people that became Apotheosis. The three of them and ascended, and then Cyric tried to start whacking them and stealing their shit after they got their godhood from Jurgle. When he was like, I don't want this. I'm just a praying mantis-headed dude, whatever.
Cyric's like, time for another edition. Let's go kill Mistra. What?
Yeah. So is that where you typically do? You, I know. Okay, there's like two different kind of things at place. I know you have to kind of go with 5th edition stuff to be up on everything that's happening right now, but is that you stop making?
Oh, it's by choice. By choice, yeah. I'm always always up with the current edition. Yeah, so I'm ready for the next edition of D&D to come along. It'll probably be a 5.5, and I'm fine with that. Just like some format changes, really, clarification, and they'll be condensing stuff into books. I'm okay with that. And I played. Like I say, I half played first and revised, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and then I got more into the mechanics of 3.5. Didn't go with the rest of the crowd over to Pathfinder because I was fine with 4th edition. It was interesting, and but I was done with 4th edition when 5th edition came along, and I was very excited when D&D Next stripped everything back down to the drawing board and then built it back up again and said, hey, look, do we really need alignment? Do we really need this stuff? Is it vital that we worried about encumbrance and things like that? And it's like, no, you can play the game without it. So yeah, I like the fact that they looked at the game and said, okay, what's the most important part of it? Your character attributes. So we need to base everything on the attributes, and that way shit won't get out of hand. And that's where the bounded accuracy comes in. That's why 5th edition works. And that's when they also realize that how many games actually go to past 10th level? You know, how vital is that? It's like, well, actually, not many. So we're going to pack all of our exciting shit into the first few levels where you can actually get your character concept and build it and play it. Not have to draw it out to 8th level before your feats catch up with what your character concept was going to be. So, yeah. I think the game's getting better and better. It's just a personal opinion, you know. But I see it being more... They're chopping it up and giving you more options, giving you more custom build in your character. Because the restrictions of old games, like how difficult it was to be a Cavalier. Or,
Are you talking about Unearthed Arcana?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that I actually happen to have sitting right beside me. I can pull it up. I had to reorder a copy, so it's in here. So let's do the grand unboxing since we got the plug for Unearthed Arcana. Let's see, do we even have it? Is it here? It's right here, and it's a surprisingly good copy. And we got it. Oh my God! 2 continents, 2 game masters, 2 Unearthed Arcanas. This is a lot of people laud this book as trash. In a lot of the more recent old school videos I've seen, but I've always absolutely adored it. I mean, it has the Barbarian.
Oh, yeah.
How can I not love the Barbarian?
Yeah, you need to understand, we didn't have every issue of Dragon Magazine that these articles and things were from. Kidding. So this was an absolute godsend. It was an expansion of the game. I loved playing like assassins, like one of the major characters that we had that ended up being an NPC patron of our adventures. Started off as a first level assassin, and he wore the gold coin from his first paid assassination. Even on level 20, he still had that coin around his neck.
The copy is in great condition. I think I only paid like $35 for it. It just came in the mail.
Bargain.
That's I think a pretty good deal for this.
But you look at the restrictions and stuff on what characters they could be. What?
Well, this started introducing.
One thing I was disappointed about they dropped the names per level of different adventuring classes. Because that's where you realize that Strider is one of the titles of one of the Ranger levels. Yeah. So it's directly a representation of Aragorn from Lord of the Rings.
They were, in a lot of cases, really hodgepodgey, and as an adult, they're kind of laughable. I'm a Myrmidon, but now I'm a Cavalier. I'm a guy that hangs out behind a convenience store.
Yeah,
you know, it
would drive. Yeah, there's not enough names to cover all the different classes and different.
Right here, I got them from looking at the Cavalier. I had a guy play a Cavalier in my Ravenloft game I ran back in high school to college. It went like 4 years. So this class I know, as I've never played it. You know, I don't tend to play the good guy heroes. This is
Cavalier or Paladin may not wear leather, padded or studded leather armor because such garb is beneath the character's station. Similarly, a Cavalier or Paladin will not use polearms, missile weapons, or other types of arms that are commonly associated with the lower social classes.
I really love details like that. Like those kind of... You know, I use a lot of splash of AD&D 1st and 2nd edition in my games because it focused a lot of times on that gritty detail versus here, just take it. It's easy. We don't want to be bothered to figure out how your wizard's going to learn spells, and you have to learn them, so why not just magically have them happen? It's magic. Magic can do anything, right? Why does it need to have any degree of credibility to it? So, you know, that's something that... in fact, I'm very happy, because I haven't had a copy of this book in some years. My old one got messed up, and this is like a really nice copy. Like, people always talk about how jacked up this book is. Yeah, look at it. I mean, it's nice, you know, for... You know, considering, and that right there, like the artwork. The artwork on these things, I used to love them. Like it's so evocative. Like you got such crazy stuff going on in a wizard's laboratory. Like wow, I got alchemical stuff. I got some type of method in a bowl. I got some kind of weird snake monster, a demon skull. You know, if that alone can't really get you
even down to like the trellis of the window being reflected, and there's 2 moons in the background there, and it's reflected in the glassware.
Yes.
Just such detail.
Yeah. I mean that's. I'll show him what you're talking about. That's right there. He's talking about that. That is the two crescents, and it's. I love artwork like
What's that imp creature in the jar, and why can't it escape? And
I mean, I'm guessing. My guess was smoke method. I just used a smoke method.
Yeah.
One of my characters just went in an excursion. We did a 1-on-1 game. You went to the elemental plane of fire, and I used a smoke method on a magic carpet, and the smoke method the entire time was trying to kill him, and he started catching on to it, and it was great. It was like, let me just touch you, and he's like, you stay away from me, and he's like, God, yeah,
it's creepy. I like it.
Yeah. It was he. Yeah, boy, that was scary. They ended up in the city of brass. We're doing a one shot. That's really working all in there. I used some Muspelheim kind of spliced in there. So he's working with this fire giant. The fire giant's like, dwarf, you're here on behest of a dragon, daring to ask me. And see, he didn't get killed in this situation, which was like the giant win there. I mean, a dwarf on behalf of a dragon asking a giant for something, which really it ended up.
A lot of bad blood. There's a lot of feuding, bad blood between those two races.
Long blood, baby. So it allowed me to kind of work that stuff in, which I like to take stuff like that, and I don't like to be heavy-handed with it. I like to just sprinkle little graves, and the players have to sit back and think, like, well, why the hell does this matter? And then they. Maybe even years later. I'm notorious at never telling my players why anything ever happened. But when I sometimes every once in a while I'll let them pick my brain, and they're like, oh my god.
You just sort of chum the water, right? See whether the players are going to take the bite, and whether that's like you can throw them a talking sword, but if they don't like the personality of the talking sword, whatever story you had attached to that talking sword is going to go by the wayside because they're going to sell that thing and get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Do you like to run when you run a game? Do you like to run a game where, like you just said, at the height of Magic, where people are selling Magic items, or where do you like your scale? I mean, are you a Magic item shop kind of guy, or?
Yeah, I like the common Magic items and things like that are like what the apprentices build when they're learning how to make Magic items, and I refer to. The Wise Man's what's the Name of the Wind, and Patrick Rothfuss's his books, and the character Quothin there goes to a magic academy and he learns how to make these magical items and stuff, and gets himself literally out of the gutter from doing that. And that is, to me, there's a lot of if you get a common magic item, it's not necessarily going to work exactly as intended every single time, and that one of my favorite magical items is the slightly moving rod. It's not an immovable rod.
Slightly moving rod, yeah.
Yeah, it moves slightly. And that ended up being absolute dynamite for the player's creativity, because they're like, okay, it does kind of what it's supposed to do, but there's some extra added stuff to it that we can use for all these nefarious purposes. Boy, yeah, they used the hell out of that thing. So yeah, legendary. When it says legendary magical item, it's got a story attached to it. It's got people interested in it. It's like a regional effect. Yeah. So it's got deep ties to the world and story and legend. And when you get involved with that thing, you become part of that legend and part of that story. And hopefully not a bloody footnote. Maybe a main player, an actor, or a resolution for that legendary item. So they're rare for a reason, they're legendary for a reason, and they're common for a reason.
Sure.
So it's building.
With the shield that the players sort of browbeat the dragon into giving them, because they were needed to do something, and it really fucked them doing that. She was like, okay. And the one character had the best reaction, was like, oh God, no, you just fucked up. Oh God, why would you say that? She's going to take care of us, I hope. With the back end, but God, don't ever. And it was the two characters that wanted stuff were the two she can't stand. One of them she just wants to eat. The other one is barely tolerable. One was walking around in dragon armor. At the very beginning of the game, they fight a baby green dragon. So imagine you're a dragon, right? You're super sapient, you're incredibly intelligent, and you see somebody walking around in a dead baby suit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're wearing dead baby. I can't fuck with you at all. This you're horrible. You're the worst, and you're going around saying you killed it, and you're wearing its skin. Okay, that's something for your ass. So that's giving them these crazy negative adjustments, and as well, the dwarven cleric's like, okay, please, I like her. She's wonderful. Can we not? Yeah, so it really created a lot of interest. But when he got it, so he takes it to this. He ends up the barbarian ends up banging this. In another area, he bangs this half elf chick. It's a wizard, and he gets her to like use identify on this shield. So I do the whole thing. She pulls out the mug. She drops the pearl in it. She's crushing it in the mortar and pestle, dropping all that into there, filling the brandy, taking the owl feather, swirling it all together. And then the eyes go like, with the crazy coloration. She's looking down at it, and she starts telling the story, right? And she starts explaining like, oh, and it's the shield, it has this fire resistance, and then she starts describing about how this dragon is breathing like this image. This dragon is breathing fire onto the guy who's like the adventurer that just gets fucking completely killed. And then he's like talking to that, he's like, yeah, and he's explaining it. One of the other characters like, oh god, I think that's who gave you the shield with the dragon. So that's the whole thing, guys. Like, add those details when you give that's what the players remember. They don't care about the +8 damage.
No, you want it. They want their world to come to life, and they want their characters to be a part of it.
Yes, absolutely. That collective, ethereal space. What I would like to say is, chasing the dragon, trying to make the illusion. This is all we're doing. Because all we're doing when we're playing games, we're just sitting here having a conversation, but we're not. And as the closer we get to hitting it real, even for a millisecond, anything that resonates is close. If that's 100%, can you get 90? Can you get 91? Can we get 91.1? And the more as you push, when you get caught up, and the longer you can maintain it, that's what the game is. That's what gets me always fired up to get in there and do it some more.
The most magical DMing moment I ever had in my entire life. I sat for 15 minutes and didn't say a word. Because everybody at the table was running the game.
Oh, yeah. That's great. When the players are...
The character was talking to herself in character. She was talking to a version of herself from another dimension, a parallel dimension. She was talking in character to herself, who was talking in character back to herself.
Yeah, that's Magic. Fantastic. When they can get there and they'll jump in and do a little bit of lifting. When you're like, can you guys do it? Oh, you can? Okay. Yeah, you feel proud of your players sometimes. When they do stuff like that, you're like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, always be ready to take on board their improv, and run with it. Because they're finally invested enough to build the world with you. So, yeah.
I like to use a little trick I call soliloquies. And in that, what we do is we'll play the character's theme music. And you can call for one anytime you want. Do you know at the end of the night, I always have people do them, but you can call for them as long as I don't want them in the middle of combat. After combat's fine, whatever. If I have to be constantly engaged, I don't want to be sidetracked. But otherwise, you can jump in, just put your hand up, and they use the hand raise. They got 6 players, and I come. Oh yeah, you, boom, 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 boom. I rule like Bane at my game table, because I want to keep them. I want to keep them as high as I can, and I want to get them involved mentally. I don't. I'm a theater of the mind guy. I want you thinking. We don't use miniatures. We don't use battle maps. We don't use any of that. It's just all I want is your brain, and I want a kind of a minimalistic approach. And I do like that because I have played some 5e. I do like that about 5e. It has. It's probably the thing I don't like about 3.5 is it just doesn't have. It's so I'm like, dude, this is what we're gonna do. We got new players. Use 3.5. Take all the feats away. Let's take some of the cool flavor of AD&D. You guys can have secondary skills. You don't get any skill points. Tell me, what does your character do? I don't want you making a psycho murder hobo. What'd your guy do? Well, he was a fisherman. My character's a farmer. My character's a blacksmith. Okay, boom. And you tell me what your character is and what you do. Well, I can tell you what you need to roll. Roll with a +4. Roll with a +6. Roll with a +7. Roll with no bonus at all. Go ahead, try it. So I found that's worked really well in the game.
I see a lot of people gravitating towards like Labyrinth Lord and the OSR games because they have those like Lamentations of the Flame Princess. They have that ability to come up with a whole bunch of characters who are 0 level, and those who make it through the first adventure are now first level adventurers, and they can go on to the proper game sort of thing. But it's like you can run that with any edition of D&D, anything, Pathfinder, Tunnels and Trolls, whatever. It's just a style of play. It's not necessarily tied up with that particular type of edition. It's just a technique.
I think with 3.5, the modularity of it is so good if it is used to help you. And by that I mean like with players get in their own way. Like I'm going to spend 4 hours looking for the perfect min-max feat instead of thinking about my actual character. And I'm going to get to the game and go, oh, I forgot my character's name. That seems a little more important than getting a better than weapon finesse, brother.
Yeah.
So let's think about that. You know.
Yeah, that would piss me off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I have seen that over my gaming career where people, you know, that's what I said there. Like I find those are the two most player exhaustive areas, skills and feats, and they're easy to take away. You're like, okay, what do you want your character to do? You want your character to be able to punch people in the head? Sure, okay. Well, your character can do that. Your character probably can't, even though you're both fighters. It's easy. There we go. We've just described that. It makes sense now, and we can mechanically implement that because we know what we're doing. You know, and even the players that just don't learn how to roll, you know, okay, I'll tell you, just roll that. You know, so
Yeah.
because I want to try to keep people caught in the imagination. You know, get in the middle mosh pit. What is
you can imagine the richness of a game like if you set it in the Forgotten Realms and everybody knows a lot about Forgotten Realms, all of a sudden you're not just a fighter from, you know, this particular region, but this particular school of this particular style who's got this sort of rivalry with this particular other style. You can have you know, some monk from Narfell who's basically living the kung fu lifestyle, wandering the land and setting right wrongs and fighting beasts and stuff, who has got no tolerance for orc racism, because orcs are actually allies who fought against the Tweegan hordes that came rampaging on horses and damn near killed everybody, and the orcs fought side by side with the humans. So, you know, it's got nuance, it's got flavor, it's got its own politics, it's got its own beating heart. You know, that's what I love about the Forgotten Realms, is it's endlessly rich.
Would you say that I've often thought that there's so many different fantasy worlds out there, right? There's not just role playing games like a Greyhawk or whatever, but you know, look at a Game of Thrones, you know, with Tolkien's Middle Earth, Forgotten Realms. Just in the number of books, game books, novels, all this stuff, it looks like, to me, it is the fantasy world that has had the most number of words written about it. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Which really, I mean, that's insane.
I mean, I've been doing this for 8 years now. I've finally hit 100,000 subscribers, and I could say with confidence that I've only just hit my stride with the Forgotten Realms. I'm now confident enough to describe the entire continent to people. That's how rich it is. Like, if you were studying at university and putting out a paper every, 2 papers a week, yeah, could have been a lawyer.
Well, that's why you are the sage of Candid Keep, brother. That's why I needed the 12th level spell to summon you here to the Barbarian Horde. Would your favorite class be Wizard? Is that what you like?
Cleric, actually.
You're a cleric guy. Oh, I'm a cleric guy too. I like clerics.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic.
Yeah. Clerics have got that. There's so much variety. You can be all sorts of different type of cleric. Yeah, one of my favorites just recently played was a cleric of Gelf Darkearth. So Snicklegrick was a deep gnome, Sverfneblin, whose god was the brother of Gal Glittergold, and his shtick was whenever he healed you or cast any sort of divination or anything like that for you, you would have to give up a personally valuable trinket, not a monetarily valuable, but a personally valuable trinket, and he would smash it ceremonial on a little anvil in front of you, so that your pain would go to his god.
That's fantastic. I like to use night hags kind of like that. I have the night hags and have the players kind of say, okay, there's a way to deal with them. You supplicantly kind of look to the ground and in a nice, kind, childlike voice call them grandmother, and then it's almost like you get a protection spell against them, and they know that, and they're leaning in, and they're grandchild, and they're trying to get you to disrespect them in some type of way, subtly, so that they can, hey, get away from me, this or that, or you're disgusting. And then they can get you. But they make deals with people because they want things, right? So just like you're saying there, they'll be like, but I think perhaps you could give me your hope. I will give you what you want. You want this? Yes, I can help you. But you will give me your first ever memory of love. You will give me your first kiss. And then have the player, I had do to one player, like, you will give me your fear. And he's like, I'll give you my fear. And it cares like afterwards, like, because, you know, and then I go through, you know, this is what you need to do for your role play. You're fucked up. And you know, I go through and explain the ways, and then it brings in all these, like, because players, there's not rules for that, so they're like, hey, navigate. This is horrifying. I know everything I do is going to be bad here. There's no good solution because this is the most evil thing there is. It wants to pick you apart and take all the best parts. Like, oh, you can have all the garbage. That's not what I want. But this memory of a dragonfly right here, and then you kind of like have them kind of have that wistful kind of what.
It's like, why are night hags so evil? Because they like it.
Yeah. Those are badass bitches right there.
Yeah,
for sure. What are, if you had let's say top 3 characters you can make in terms of clerics and your worshiping gods, Forgotten Realms gods, any of them? Which gods do you take? And you're playing the character in a game, and you know the game's going to go year, 2 years, long-term game, long-term good
long-term
character.
Game.
Yeah, so you can really just dig into the character. What 3 gods you pick?
I'd like something that's more obscure, where there's probably not as much published stuff, where me and the DM are working together to write that religion, that faith. So the Red Knight, for instance, would be a good god to pick. Yeah. Also, let's see. Kind of drawn to Tempest, because Tempest is like this very one-sided sort of thing, but there's a lot of legends and stuff with Tempest. Like, for instance, Kelvin's Cairn. Kelvin's Cairn was a monument to Tempest's foe. There was this giant Kelvin that was flying around in a sky castle and basically dropping giant warriors down on top of everybody and raiding with impunity all along the spine of the world. Got very uppity, and then Tempest decided to come down and challenge him directly, and they fought, and the sky castle crashed to the ground, and Tempest rained meteors down onto it until it formed a mountain called Kelvin's Cairn. So inside that mountain is a upside down castle. Anyway, so that's interesting stuff.
Tempest is great. I love the old AD&D adventure book where they would like, all right, look, all clerics for some dumbass reason have to use bludgeoning weapons, but Tempest's clerics can take one, not a whole group, but one particular weapon that is blessed and sanctified. And if they lose it, it breaks or whatever, they have to go all the way back and get it re-sanctified before they can touch it. And you get the cleric with a bastard sword, like, you know, that's such flavor in that.
We had a lot of fun with a cleric of St. Cuthbert who had to, he healed you by hitting you with a blunt weapon.
Yeah.
Boof! And you're healed. So you get broken and remade.
Our Dwarven Priest actually did that to someone in the game, because the cowardly ranger who's wearing the dragon skin ran off. My son's character was getting... My son's character, this ambush for the Followers of Cyric, my son's character, who's a hobbit, 3-foot tall hobbit, comes to save his character, and others can't get there because they're being watched. And he undoes all the binding and gets him loose, and in the process, the ranger makes some noise and alerts everybody. And the ranger, when everyone runs at the hobbit, who's a wizard, who has no hit points, an hobbit, and they start attacking, the ranger turns and runs. My son's character almost, he's the closest anyone's come to death. He almost got stopped to death. The other characters come running in there. The dwarf is like using a healing spell. He sees him mess up. He's like, ah! So he actually hits him, does damage to him, and heals him at the same time. So that just brought that memory back. But please, let's hear the number 3. Sure, everyone will be interested.
Number 3, most intriguing evil god is Malar. And I like the idea of a good character playing a cleric of an evil god.
Yeah.
Because it's possible. A lot of people say it's not, but I mean, there's a lot of like messed up religions out there at the moment, and it's quite possibly a good person who's mixed up with a bad crowd. And the idea that Malarites run these like secret society, the nobles going in there with masks and stuff and doing some lewd shit in back rooms and things, because it's okay, because you know it's a legit religion. Yeah, and they do things like they supply the local lord with beasts that they can go and hunt and things like that. You know, yeah.
My son is just going to like you even more because Malar is his favorite, hands down favorite Forgotten Realms god. He loves Malar. His first D&D ever character was a ranger that followed Malar. He loves him. He loves Malar. So I screw with him constantly about my law.
Lolth was aware of the world of Forgotten Realms because of she went to a place where she landed on some world, and there was Malar killing he'd killed one of the orc gods because he wanted to be the chief of the orc pantheon, and there was these primitive orcs on the world of Toril way back. When Corellin and Grumsh were first fighting each other.
Yes.
So yeah, she remembered that world. That was back when she was a Roshni, not Lolth yet.
Not Roshni, yeah. And I totally agree with you about having followers that don't fit the mold. And I always kind of so there's two things, right? Like belief predicates the gods. They're actually, to me, gods eat and drink your belief. That's what they need. And if you start advocating your god in a certain way, you have your heterodoxy, right? The faith of Malar is this way. Another Malarite goes, well, actually, it's this way. And now you have created a heresy in the religion. Now, does Malar go, nope, I'm not, you're dead? Or does Malar go, wait, oh God! I would never have gotten him as a worshiper. That guy's my worshiper now. And that character starts what? Because he's a PC. He starts growing in levels. It means he's more powerful. It means he means more. And Malar's like, I kind of like this chaotic good aspect of me that's opening up. And now we can do what? Tell stories. We can people. Oh, I had a character in my man Frank's game, Godai. And Godai is a follower of Talos. And he beat ass at Talos' name. And Godai kind of starts off evil, and we see the dynamic character arc. My character is incredibly faithful to Talos, but he turns, and by the end of the game, he's full-on chaotic good. And he is a raging alcoholic, because he has to sometimes do things that are killing him, because they don't jive. He has, like, two minds here, and it's his god is like this devil, but also kind of this angel, and he's, like, in the middle, and it's killing him. So he's coming back to the village while, it buried the paladin. We had a very weak player playing the paladin who did all these things the paladin shouldn't have done. And the game master would slowly show him, hey, everyone in the town is starting to worship Talos because the barbarian literally comes back to town with all of his treasure and basically just gives it to them. Because the barbarian is having so much shame, so much guilt, so much fear and angst that he's having to do some things he doesn't want to do. And he's still like, but Talos is this! And he's like, and so it was kind of like, are we pulling Talos ever so slightly, even if it's a step? That's a monumental feat for a character, a
lot of ways. Like if you go to Mount Celestia or something like that, and the trials and tribulations that you go through as you're climbing up the seven mounting heavens is you're following in the steps of the gods that ascended, so that by the time you get to the top, you're actually the same person, and you realize, oh, I actually was Tempest all along, and you merge and become part of the god. You're just another aspect of him. That's building to the whole. So gods are these conglomerations of things. They're not just individuals. They're way beyond that. Yeah, I like that idea. And that the outer realms are conceptual realms. They exist in our head. They're not a place. They're a concept. So yeah. A lot of people ask me, it's like, well, is there just like one Celestia for all the different planes of existence? Like, is Celestia like, is there a parallel world version of Celestia? It's like, no, it's just the same place. Same place.
Yeah, it's always a really interesting thing to start wrapping your head around, like extra little things, and then trying to work in written material and then bring in your own stuff. And kind of wrapping that up so people go, oh, I've heard of that. But, oh, God, this is horrifying, I don't want to say it because my heart are here, but I'll tell you offline. A really cool spot I have somewhere in the multiverse that really, really kind of, when the players get there, it provides a lot of cool buttons with a lot of real horror factor. But yeah, your extra planar videos are very good. I would definitely... Yeah. I would definitely suggest you should hit every single one of those because you do like a home run job on those.
Oh yeah, they're like I paint a very cohesive picture to a very uncohesive body of literature.
Yeah.
Take it with a grain of salt. You can certainly argue the point on certain things that I espout as like being factual it's all, you know,
There's no
take
fact.
it as you want. You know?
All it is game hooks. Everything is
Yeah.
the game hook. That's everything.
Yeah. It's just inspiration. That's all it is. Like, and a lot of people who will argue the origins of species and things like that. It's like it's just their religion. It's not biological fact that, you know, dwarves didn't literally get carved out of mountains by Moradin. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. You know? Talking with some of the original authors in regards to God, facts, and fiction, they said whenever there's historical records of a god showing up in a place, then that's canon. If it's just in a book somewhere or it hasn't got a date attached to it, that's mythology.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty interesting way to look at that.
Pretty good advice, yeah. But they're very hard to pin down the original authors. Whenever you start getting specific, they're like, they wrote this shit 20 years ago. You know, they're
40 years ago in some
they're
cases.
working writers. They want to talk about what they're doing now,
Oh,
not
yeah,
what they
for
did
sure.
30 years ago.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a genie in a bottle. Like when you pull that stuff out, it loses. Like there's really defining the things. It kind of loses some of the magic to it.
Yeah.
You know, as an RPG writer, I can tell you, when people ask me this very specific questions like about Within the Ring of Fire, I'm like, I don't really want to tell you that because there's a reason I didn't write that in there. And
just walk up, shake his hand, say thank you very much. I've had a lot of fun with it. Move along.
You're right about that. Like, there's, you definitely don't always want to see that for sure because it sometimes the answer is a lot less impressive than you want it to be.
Yeah.
Because you have to write words because you have to have a word count and you have to describe it. So you have to describe it. And sometimes I'll read a book and I can tell, right, that the writer, this is just something that just winged in there. But it came across to me and a lot of people as by far the most important thing in the whole book. And they're like, I don't know, man, I just had to write something. And, you know, not to say that that's how everything comes across, but sometimes it is that way. And they're like, it was always that important. You know, particularly when you try to over-intellectualize things. And that's, as geeks and nerds, that's what we do.
Yeah, it's like the whole argument of canon, right? It's like, is it canon or is it not canon? It's like, well, is it canon for you? Then it is.
Yeah, who cares? Did it give you a plot hook?
Yeah.
Is it being canon or is it not being canon going to make your game better either way? No, it's not. Did it inspire an idea that's going to make your game better? Well, then it's cool. Then to go with that.
You can sit down and argue whether this version of the book's details is right or that version of the book's details is right. That's got its own sphere of debate, but it doesn't have any place at your gaming table.
Yeah, neither me or any of my players. We're not that type. I could.
And if we're not, then who could possibly be?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying the guys I play with, we've never. There's a lot of things that I would be very heavy-handedly opinionated on, but whether something is or isn't canon, I could care less. I shape and change everything to put it exactly where I want it. That's what everyone I think should do. You create the basis that's going to let you run your A game. Don't get pushed down here where you're running a Q level game and you're like, I don't know why my game sucks. Well, are you running what you feel comfortable with? No, absolutely not. This is horrible for me. That's
You're not happy with dragon turtles being the size of a ship. You want them the size of an island? Make them the size of an island.
Make them the size of an island. Yeah, absolutely. Or the size of a little, goldfish.
All right, man. I'm due for some painkillers.
Absolutely, brother. Don't let me hold you up. It was great to have you on here. Absolutely fantastic. Barbarian Horde, go check out AJ Pickett's channel. We appreciate you in the midst of all your mouth pain coming in here and doing the worst thing you could do is talk for over an hour. Fantastic time with you, brother. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.